right now is the time that Gretorp needs to go. He has enough zealots that if he spreads them well, he can easily get all these tanks. If he waits, he's going to end up in a really bad situation if he waits long enough.
He's got the Arbiter out now, though, but unfortunately because of that missile turret, they're able to spot those Dragoons, and those Dragoons are not able to snipe those siege tanks. And now here come the Zealots. Zealots trying to move out. Vulture's letting a couple Spider Mines. Arbiter coming in, trying to cloak those Zealots, but unfortunately... Oh, nice Spider Mine there. Able to take out quite a small group of Vultures with just one mine. And now the majority of the Spider Mines are gone, and a lot of those Vultures don't even have Spider Mines anymore. This is the time to move out, Gretorp, and there he goes. A couple more Zealots running out. Spider Mine's not able to engage, though, and wow, Gretorp is losing a lot of Zealots without really accomplishing too much. Ouch. Yeah, he's losing a lot of troops here. Okay, now Zealots are able to finally break out. Oh, nice! That one Spider-Man able to take out 2 siege tanks there in the middle of the map. So Gretorp has effectively cut that siege tank force in half now. Unfortunately, because those 2 gateways got the pylon cut off, and one gateway is actually destroyed, Zealots aren't coming out nearly quick enough. And you can see Gretorp putting down even more gateways to try to compensate for that. He's going to bust out here pretty soon now, though. Dragoons coming out, trying to engage, but too many reinforcements coming down from Sadist. Going to need a few more groups of Zealots, another group of Zealots here to help break out. Or at least a recall.
This is a terrible situation to be in on this map. The only thing that's really worse is whenever you have a maxed out army and you think you're going to win the game, and then Terran marches up in the middle and takes you out. But once you get contained into that tiny little choke on this map, versus a competent player, it can be really difficult. And I think he missed his timing window. I think that he's going to be fighting an uphill battle from this point.
Well, he did get Arbiters slightly earlier than well, wow, large group of Zealots coming out now. Bunker finally goes down. Zealots now streaming out. No Vulture reinforcements arriving, just mostly just pure siege tanks trying to reinforce here, and that's really not going to help Sadist out. He needs those Vultures to lay down a Spider Mine field to keep those Dragoons at bay somewhat. And now we can see that Gretorp has kind of semi-successfully broken out of his containment, but Sadist, if he's quick here, he should be able to reinforce and get right back in there and keep Gretorp bottlenecked here. But not going to happen, though, looks like. Vulture's just arriving a little bit too late to help save a lot of those siege tanks. And I think the best thing that Sadist should do now is just retreat and regroup, because sending down more forces like this, all he's going to be doing is just feeding the dragon and just losing siege tanks, which he needs to hoard. Gretorp definitely needs to move out to take a 3rd base, though. He's been at 2 base with Sadist, and that's not good as a Protest player. He's probably... I wouldn't recommend that mineral only, because he's going to need gas. So he's going to need that bottom right expansion, the double gas expansion down there. But again, it's going to be a little bit further away from his natural. It'll be very easy to Vulture harass that if he's not careful with his army placement. Sadist actually.
I'm very surprised that he broke out. He seemed to break out pretty easily. I think bad mine placement may have had something to do with that. He managed to lure a lot of mines into tanks, and it looks like he's turned it around pretty nicely. And you'll note that he has, I think, 5 Arbiters out now. So once those get some energy, that's going to get ugly.
The Arbiters are definitely going to help if he can get a nice recall on Sadist's base. But you can see that Sadist is kind of prepared for that. There are lots of missile turrets situated on the outskirts of Sadist's main base, trying to protect those depots and those factories. If Gretorp can get an Arbiter in there and take out those factories, Gretorp's going to be able to win this game. He'll be able to come back, because if he takes out the factories, he can either just push on and try to win right there, or he can just expand all over the place while Sadist is just desperately trying to get his army back up. But really, Gretorp needs to think about taking a 3rd base here soon. His main base is getting desperately low on minerals. His natural is starting to get depleted as well. We can see Sadist. Oh no! Bad recall by Gretorp there. I just noticed that Arbiter moving in, and that recall placed the army just outside of the entrance, or just outside that wall, into Sadist base, and so now Gretorp forced to just harass the mineral-only expansion. Oh boy, you know, he has that second Arbiter, but no energy to cast the recall inside the base. Sadist now coming in with a lot of vultures and a couple siege tanks trying to reinforce. He's going to be able to defeat this attack very easily.
I'm not confident if that was an accident or not. I think, you know, I think whether he did it intentionally or accidentally, it's worked out well because he has, at least for the time being, neutralized the main advantage that Sadist has had in this game, and that is his economic lead.
But you can see Sadist coming in now with more siege tanks and vultures. He's going to be able to easily push. I mean, 6 Dragoons is really not going to be sufficient to keep Sadist from retaking his mineral only. And actually, Sadist, he's got the minerals. He could easily just go and retake another base somewhere else and retake that mineral only, and just try to stay one step ahead of Gretorp, because Gretorp has just barely taken his mineral only, and so Sadist could actually be very safe in doing that, using Goliath to try to chase off that Arbiter as well, slowly bringing the siege tanks in.
Let's look at how weak Sadist's containment has become at Gretorp's base. Looks like Gretorp could pretty easily just walk up and get out of his base and assume map control for the first time since about the 5-minute mark.
Recall.
Oh, look, Arbiter's recall in the base.
You know, boy, that's such a really small recall right there. That's not a lot of troops. And since Sadist already has his
stasis.
Right. I was gonna say, if you're gonna have that small of an army.
On that Arbiter.
Yeah. And another recall with a probe. That's pretty pimp. Yeah, stasis is definitely, I mean, he has so many Arbiters. I don't know why he's not using, maybe he never researched it, hence he's not using it. But if you get Arbiters, like, not getting stasis is like a huge no-no. You need to stasis those tanks, because that's what tears apart your Dragoons. You gotta keep those tanks neutralized so your Dragoons can pick off the vultures and then get into a good position to pick off the siege tanks when they get out of that stasis. And instead of boy, I really think after I mean, he did a good job. Gretorp did a good job stopping that mineral only. I think dropping the main base, kind of a little bit of a mistake, because Sadist army, you only want to drop a Terran player when his army is somewhere else. Sadist's army was already at home defending his mineral only. It was just very easy for him to just bring that back in there to fend off that attack. Gretorp should have pushed on that containment like you mentioned and tried to take that out and try to gain a little bit of map control.
Notice what he's done though. Instead of Sadist's entire army being camped at the containment, Sadist's army is at home. And he managed to buy himself enough time to throw up that mineral-only nexus. He's got an expansion coming at his 2 gas. And during all that, Sadist was not mining from his mineral-only. He was steadily using all of his new troops that were being produced to fight off the recall. So I think overall it was pretty good play. I think Gretorp created a nice distraction, but his lack of observers is not helping out if we look at what's going on right now.
You can also see Gretorp's mineral count surprisingly has almost climbed up into the 1k range, but now spending lots of minerals, finally getting those gateways going. 3 Dragoons and 1, and there's actually a couple of empty gateways. But overall,
those 7 vultures absolutely wrecked Gretorp.
I'm actually surprised that Gretorp, he actually transferred more probes into that, didn't he? He lost a bunch and then transferred more. Kind of, boy, I don't know why, yeah, that's really risky. More probes coming in, more vultures coming down. Oh, the Sadist sees it, Sadist does sees it. Comsat going off.
It's over.
Oh. More probes gonna start going down to those vultures. And actually Sadist forced to pull back more Dragoons that he didn't see before coming in. But still, ouch, and that Spider-Mine taking out some Dragoons there as well. Only 1 observer for... I only see 1 observer for his entire army, and that's... my motto is, the more the merrier. As a Protoss player, you really need about 5 or 6 observers, so that way you can keep constant tabs on factory production, where the Terran army is, and then you have a couple around for your army as well.
Absolutely, and notice that, you know, at no point in this game has Gretorp attempted to scout anywhere, except the route directly between his base and Sadist's. And that's a huge mistake versus a Terran player who gets the urge to just take random expansions all over the map. And as you can see up at the top, Sadist is starting to take one now, but it doesn't matter because the game is over.
Yeah, we saw a couple stasis fields from Gretorp. The first one was kind of in an interesting position, only got 2 tanks, and then the second one did a much better, nailing 4 tanks. But by that time, Gretorp had just lost his entire army, so not much he could do to prevent those siege tanks from just moving on in, taking his mineral only and the double gas expansion. So Game 2 also goes to Sadist, so we're going to go ahead and move on to Game 3.